Good evening to everyone and welcome to today's session. Every year I wait for this day to dissect and open what was asked in the state MD entrance. We all yearn to be the toppers. So let us make the start. But before that, I like to give few findings of the analysis. What is a very common question for all the students? How is the paper this year? Every year it is the same question, how is the paper? So how many of you agree that it is a tough paper? Can raise the hand. Oh, very few are honest about it. Good. But the fact is, it's a very traditional paper, but for about some 35 to 40 questions. If you retrospectively look at the various AP MD entrance exams, AP PG, 30 to 40 is not a unexpected finding. As much as normal pregnancy and labor and delivery is a normal process, 98% of times it won't complicate. Only 2% will be breach. So that's the reason this paper also is more or less like that. Now let us look at the analysis. We have published a book called APPG High Yield Scanner at the last moment before the exam. So we have grouped the questions, past 30 years questions, into level A, B, C, D, E. That is those topics where the questions have come 30 to 90 times in the past 30 years. There is a 100% chance that they will also come in this AP. That was our prediction. So we predicted 10 such topics. Similarly, level B is around 20 to 30 questions have been asked in 30 years. So the prediction is around 80 to 90% questions will come from that kind of the topics. So accordingly we decided level A topics 10 questions should come. What happened in the actual APPG entrance 2010? There are in fact 9 questions from the level A topics. So it is not a bad prediction. We predicted level B topics 13 questions should come, but 6 came from the level B topics. If you look back into that APPG scanner, we predicted around 27 questions from the level C topics, and there are 26 questions. Level D we predicted, level D means those questions, those topics from which questions came 10 to 15 times in the past 30 years. We predicted at least some 30 questions will come from that list. Around 25 have come. Finally, from the level E topics, we predicted that 90 questions will come, around 71 came. Then what happened is there are about 28 questions which are not the part of APPG traditional question bank. They are the part of All India AIIMS and PGI question bank. Those questions were around 28 questions have come. I'll show you in the discussion how it happened. So finally, how many questions came unpredictable? Very unpredictable. Around 34 questions were unpredictable. It doesn't matter. That means 34 is, if you are lucky enough, you will answer, that's all. So 200 minus 34 is how much? 166. So definitely score should be between 160 170, the top score in that case. Provided the topper has answered at least 150 out of 164 correctly, 10 mistakes given to God. Then out of 34 he guessed 50% of times correctly. So that means another 10-20 marks added. So 160 to 170. So let us see when the results break. So now let us make a start. What are those 9 MCQs from the level A topics? Repeatedly we had been discussing this in our Sunday mock tests, our long Sunday long discussions we do 8 AM to 8 PM in Hyderabad. So day long subject revision sessions, we had been discussing the same. Contraception, without that any examiner cannot be able to give a paper. There were 4 questions from contraception. Ovarian cancer, there are 2 questions, carcinoma cervix 1 question, abortion 1 and molar pregnancy is 1. These are the topics which were the part of the level A topics in the high yield topic scanner. So let us make the start. Marina, which is the Levonorgestrel releasing IUCD system, what is true about it? Once more, don't be apprehensive, there can be, these questions are all based on recall. And our answers are also empirical. So don't become restless. You already made a 150, 160 score at home. Came here and you are finding more number of answers going wrong because of our key. Don't be apprehensive. We will have a debate and discussion on the questions. Okay. These are the 4 options I got. That it is used in menorrhagia, which is true because it has levonorgestrel. It can be used for 5 years, is true. It releases 20 micrograms, is true, and its failure rate is around 0.1% is true. So these are the 4 statements which are substantiated by the literature, which is given to you in the explanatory booklet. I'm not sure whether there is any change among these 4 options, actual examiner's question paper. So sorry to start with a controversial question. So let us go to the next question. What is true about female condom is a very important question. It prevents STD, it covers the external genitalia, it is made of polyurethane, everything is true. But if you look at the failure rate, can you guess, doctor, what is the failure rate of male condom system? That itself is around 15 per 100 women years. 100 women or men years, whatever you call. But the question of female condoms is around 20% is the failure rate. So that becomes the answer for this question. Then what is the mechanism of the OCPs was a very important question. They make the cervical mucus to become more thicker, not thinner and clearer. So that is the reason it is not a part of the mechanism of action, whereas it decrease or rather change FSH LH, it will interfere with the ovulation. They are all the true statements. Now what is the mechanism of action of the copper T intrauterine contraceptive device is an important question. It is spermicidal, yes, it is very toxic to sperm, that is the copper. And it will also increase fallopian tube motility, it will induce the inflammation in the surrounding uterine mucosa and will make implantation not possible. So that is the reason I think possibly the biochemical changes which are gametocytic and spermatolytic, I am not sure, was it the kind of a framing? Oh, there is one more 4th option you are talking, right? So we will try to take it up in the end of this as a part of the debate. Carcinoma of ovary, cervix, endometrium, fibroids. Without that there is no paper in this subcontinent called India. So how do you treat stage 2 is the question. Now doctor, surgery is the treatment of choice, surgery alone. In case of the stage 1A, stage 1B up to grade 2 and all the stage 1, grade 3, you can be able to call that should be treated with the chemotherapy for a minimum of 3 courses. These are the typical subsets. So that is the reason chemotherapy is the one which is the preferable one. Now, do you like to argue that surgery plus chemotherapy? You like to argue, right? It's called as neoadjuvant therapy. So who are the subset of populations who require surgery plus the chemotherapy? Huh? Right. So what was the question given was stage 2. They are not very sure which part of the stage 2 it is. So by that benefit I would like to consider chemotherapy as a potential answer for this question. We will argue on that, don't worry. Now what are sex-cord stromal tumors? This is a traditional question, every Sunday paper we keep invariably discussing that the granulosa cell tumor, thecoma fibroma, Sertoli cell tumor, Leydig cell tumor, they are all basically called the sex-cord tumors but not the Brenner, which becomes the answer for this question. Then if there is a HSIL, high grade lesions, then what is the next step you want to do? This is also a very traditional question, carcinoma cervix screening, and what are the steps in evaluating a potential carcinoma cervix and carcinoma in situ. It is a very routinely asked question. So the answer for this is we try to do colposcopy guided biopsy, which is the next step once you have detected HSIL. And once colposcopy guided biopsy shows a highly precancerous lesion, then you need to take a call. So that is the part of the protocol. If MTP is at 8 weeks the products of conceptions are in a very friable state. Now at 8 weeks it is very friable. That is the reason we tend to do suction and evacuation rather than dilatation and curettage. Is it all except about it, or this is the way the question was asked? So we try to put it as suction and evacuation becomes the preferable choice. Partial mole versus complete mole. This is another very frequently asked question. So 165 questions are absolutely within the roles and rules of the game called entrance exam. Only 35 questions are very stupidly created and fantasies of the examiner, that's all. So now the question comes. If you look at the partial mole, it does not have diploid karyotype, rather it has got triploid karyotype is what you have to basically remember. Sentinel lymph node biopsy in the carcinoma breast, why do you want to do? You don't want to do a very extensive axillary node dissection. So one sentinel node you will try to do the dissection, and based upon the findings of the frozen section you will take a call whether to do a more extensive axillary dissection or not is what need to be basically remembered. So that completes our 9 level A questions. How many of you have answered 9 out of 9 wrong? I mean right rather. If we ask how many right, you won't raise hands, I know. So 9 out of this 9 easily you can get 6 to 7, 1 or 2 leave to God. But it should not be even that. 9 to 9 you are expected. But what is common about these 9 questions? All the 9 belong to gynops. So gynops में 30 और 30, 30 out of 30, 100% marks आना ही पड़ेगा. नहीं तो you are out of the game, out of the race at least. And it's very easy. One small datta, one small shah. They both are waiting. Now level B topics. There are six questions which came from level B topics. From breast carcinoma there are 2 questions. Anatomy in gynops, 1 question. And in medicine diabetes 1. And fetal skull and maternal pelvis there is 1 more question. Fetal skull and maternal pelvis, 22 questions were asked in the past 30 years of APPG. If you go back to the APPG high yield scanner book, so it is no surprise that examiner asked it. Then head injury, there was a question about Glasgow Coma Scale, and there are about 20 questions if you look back APPG retrospectively. Now let us look into it. What is not screening? You do FNAC only after a node comes out. So that is the reason self-examination, clinical exam, mammography, they are all part of the screening, not FNAC, which is more of diagnostic rather a screening procedure is what need to be understood. Then coming to the lymph nodes of the uterus and cervix, let us talk about it. Internal and external iliac lymph nodes, obturator and parametrial nodes. To all these locations cervical lymph nodes basically will disseminate is what need to be basically remembered.